Hi, this is John, and I like to talk about modern homesteading. And not that I'm a modern homesteader, I think that's real cool, and all the videos that people put out about modern homesteading is awesome. I think we need more videos like that to show how, people can live with better healthy food, stay with their, be with family, have animals around, work as a family unit. That's what we need. People need to do that. And if you go like even outside the United States, a lot of people live like that. And a lot of people live like that in poor conditions, where they just they hustle every day to make ends meet. But what I like to talk about is the fact that a lot of these videos and a lot of people claim to be off the grid. I'm in my apartment and I'm definitely on the grid. I have cable TV, I have my cell phone, I have electricity, I have everything that I can possibly need in modern conveniences. I can walk out my door and there's a sidewalk. I can even go outside, cross the street, and there's everything I need at my fingertips. I can walk to any store pretty much in this town that I live in and buy anything I need. But is it true that there is a small fraction of people that live off the grid? I don't think so. I don't think anybody in the country is living off the grid. We as a society cannot avoid the grid. We all live on the grid. We all live in the United States, which is a gigantic grid. No matter where you go, what you do, what you see, whatever it is, you're on the grid. There's no way you could ever be off the grid in this country, or practically maybe any country, unless you live, like in the jungle or in a forest, that you're living undercover, that nobody knows you're there. Because if they find out that you live there, they're gonna tell you to leave. Because you don't own the property. It's government property. Somebody's gonna make you leave. There's a Beemer. Come here, Beemer. Come on. That's my cat, Beemer. Well, this is Beemer. Say hello. He's a good boy. I've had him about 5 years. I got him at a shelter, and I didn't think he was gonna become this gigantic fur ball, which I paid dearly for. He's a good cat. He's very friendly, and he's good. Okay, so what's the main thing that people claim that makes them off the grid? And that is electricity. Now, if you're gonna say that just because you don't have electricity, or you don't have natural gas, or you don't have running water or city water, doesn't mean you're off the grid. Well, all that means is that you don't want to pay for electricity, and you don't want to pay for natural gas, and you don't want to pay for running water. So what do you do versus not paying for electricity? Okay, so what you do is you go out and you buy thousands and thousands of dollars worth of solar panels, batteries, controllers, all that. There's nothing wrong with that. I would love to do that, okay? Because they need electricity. That's the point. See, you're refusing to pay for electricity, but on the other hand, you're trying to create your own electricity. But all that stuff that you purchased to create your own electricity was made on the grid. They try to do everything in their power to not pay for electricity, which is great. I'm 100% with that. But that doesn't make you off the grid. I'm gonna get to that. The other thing is, they don't want to pay for natural gas. Okay, a lot of people can't get natural gas, but if you have propane in your house, on your homestead, you are on the grid. Because that propane is just like electricity. It's a power plant. They produce natural gas, so they buy it, and then they put it in a bottle and they give it to you, and it's like trickle down economics, right? You get the big supplier, gives it to one supplier, and you're the end user. So you're on the grid, period. That's being on the grid. The other thing is water. I mean, modern homesteaders most likely, probably 8 out of 10 times won't have water piped into their house, and they're gonna need a well. So that's a gimme. You know, they have a stream they get water from, all that stuff. So that's something that, you know, you may not be able to get from the town or city that you live in. What is the major factor that puts you on the grid? And that's property taxes. Property taxes. If you pay property taxes on the home that you live on, and you are receiving services for the money you're paying, like police or protection, schools, roads, you know, that's the main thing. Roads, because, you know, where you live, you have to pay to maintain the roads. And more. You know, there's a mayor, there's some kind of legislature in the town. So you're paying for that. You're on that grid. That's a grid. You can't avoid that. There's no such thing as living, unless like you live in a van and you know, you're not subject to any township, any jurisdiction. You just drive around and you're a nomad. You know, you're a free person. But technically, you're still on the grid, because every time you pull into a gas station and pumping gas, you're using the grid. You're on the grid. It doesn't matter if you don't have electricity, running water, or natural gas. So as long as you're paying property taxes, you're on the grid, period. So like all these statements, living off the grid, it's not true. For people to continually put out these videos that they're off the grid. Because if you own a vehicle and you use that vehicle and you buy parts for that vehicle on the grid, you're on the grid. If you gotta drive to a gas station to put fuel in your car, you're on the grid, because that fueling station is a power plant for you. Like the electrical power plant that delivers the electricity to you. It's the same thing. There's no difference between an electrical supply and buying gasoline or diesel, you know, or even going to buy wood. Having an off-grid lifestyle is just never gonna happen in the United States. Never lived off the grid. I've always lived in the city. You know, I was born and raised in Brooklyn. I still live in the city. I'm like in a smaller city. When I lived in Brooklyn, there was 3 million people. You know, and there was a lot going on. Every single day, something was going on. Versus where I live now, it's kind of quiet. You could live on 50 acres of land and not have electricity, but you're still on the grid. And the other thing too is a lot of people, they can't afford to bring electricity into their house, right? But that still doesn't make you off the grid. You know, that makes you not being able to afford to pay for electricity. I mean, I would make a video, somebody please help me out. So, you know, me and my family could pay a contractor to bring these lines into my house. But thanks for watching. Really appreciate it. Hope you guys subscribe and like, comment, and peace out. And God bless.